Hey, I'm Carlos Garcia, and today we're going over my May bottle haul, which every month just gets a little bit crazier. This is definitely the most I've ever spent on whiskey in 1 month. There's a big reason why for that, and some of you guys have probably figured it out already. But first, let's do a giveaway. So this is for the Star Hill Farm video from last week. Kevin Dirks 78. Congratulations. All right, let's get into the first lineup. All right, we're into the first lineup, and this section over here is from that trip I went out to New York. I did a video out there. I did my first haul video. That was part of it. But on the way up to that little cabin on the lake, it's a big ass house. We stopped at a couple distilleries. The first place we stopped at was Hudson Valley. No. Dennings Point Distillery. That sounds more familiar. And I picked up a couple bottles there, and I don't have the receipt, but total $163.22. And that might have even been with the tasting and everything. And so I apologize for not having the exact pricing, but we did a tasting there, and I know they gave us a discount. So one's a small batch bourbon, and the other one's cask strength single barrel. Pretty sure I got to try them both, and they were okay. I'm surprised I actually didn't open these up at the cabin, because I opened up all of these. So I wonder if that was just hidden from me or something. Anyways, then we stopped at Orange County Distillery, but it's called like Brown Barn Farms, Orange County Distillery. And there was a pretty cool experience because the head distiller guy, I asked him, like, what's his real title? Like owner, distiller, like everything. What happens at a smaller distillery? But he was there. And so we got talking, and obviously when I get to talk to people, I spend more money. I got to try a bunch of different single barrels and stuff like that. And they make peated American single malt there from their own peat that they have on their farms, which I thought was pretty cool. So these two here are two different batches of the peated American single malt. This one has the 6-year age statement on it. And then we got a bourbon. One's a cask strength, one's I think the regular bourbon. This is the cask strength, the one over here. And then I'm pretty sure this shouldn't be here. It's like their store price tag. And then we have two different ryes here. And this is 6-year age stated bourbon. Does it look like to be cask strength? 86% corn, 15% wheat. And, it's age stated right on the side too. And for pricing, I think they're all around the same. So the full size bourbon was $70. I did get some kind of a 10% discount. I don't know if that was for veteran type thing or just because I bought a bunch of bottles, but the MSRP was $70 on the big size bourbon. Peated single malts were $37. The ryes were $37. And the barrel strength bourbon, okay, I think I know what they did. So they kind of just mixed it all up. But the barrel strength options here were $70 and the regular were $37. Maybe we did the tasting there, and I think maybe if you did a tasting, you got 10% off, possibly. But either way, there was a 10% discount on those prices. But if you're ever in that area, definitely check them out. It's a small little distillery, and we did, I think it was like 9 pours for like 14 bucks. Definitely worth doing the tasting there because they have a good amount of variety there. Because how often do you see a peated American single malt? And they have ryes and bourbons. Obviously, they have gins and all that kind of stuff too for a regular small distillery. And then I did pick up a Elijah Craig 15 while I was out there during my hunting video. I already sold that to my buddy, that and another bottle for MSRP. Now over here flipping bottles. I ended up getting another one anyway, so I was like, I don't need 2 backups. I did pick up that for $158.99. Then I went up to the Boston area, Cambridge area specifically, to hang out with my friend's uncle and play golf. Very fun little trip. But while we're out there, I stopped at my old commander's distillery, Chattermark, and I picked up his new 5-year-old bourbon. Picked up 3 bottles of it. All together, I don't know if this was a tax or anything, but this is full bill, was $210. So right around $70 for each one all in. And I didn't pick up any bottles up there when I was hunting up in the Cambridge area because those stores were stupid expensive. And then let's see, I picked up this Old Raleigh Whiskey Society. This is the Cigar batch or Stogie batch, whatever they call it. Yeah, Old Stogie. And I picked this up online for $125 plus shipping and taxes. SLB just did this pick of Onyx and Amber, just took it out of the box for this video because it just came in. And this is a 8-year-old bourbon, and this was $70 plus shipping and everything. Then my buddy was able to get me a Stuff and Whiskey Swag 2026 Nashville Barrel Company 8-year-old bourbon. Be a good comparison right there. They're both 8-year-olds. A little bit more expensive. This was $125, but that probably was with shipping and everything because that was off of Venmo. All right, let's get into the next lineup. All right, we get into the next lineup. I think most of this is from like local stores and a couple raffle wins. We'll get into that. So my local store got all three of the new 16 or the Octomore 16 1, 2, and 3. And the prices for those, they seem to be cheaper than years past, which is why I bought them. And I haven't bought them in the past 2 years, but I used to buy them all the time. The 16 1 was $190. The 2 was $240, and the 3 was $260. I do plan on doing a review of all three of them against each other, kind of see what's my favorite. So that should be coming soon. I'm sure 2 of you will watch that, but I'm interested in knowing. Local liquor store just got this Old Ezra pick, and that was $73, so I picked that up. And while I was there, and this has the box over there, but I took it out of the box. I already had it out of the box. Again, if you don't remember, I did my 12 bottle like review, which was the recap of my Whiskey Cigar Club. I was supposed to have 24 in there. There's 12 bottles you'll see today that are still closed that were supposed to be opened in my second one, like last week. So this was supposed to be in that lineup, so I took it out of the box. Anyways, that was $220, and I think that's less than MSRP. I think he had it lower just to move it because it was sitting. And then a different store, they just did a pick, Old Forester single barrel, the King's Choice, cool little label on that. Warehouse K Floor 1, 128.5 proof. That was $90. The Bomb Burgers 2026, that's $125. The Shanks is a $115. I talked about this in that video I was just talking about, the 12 bottle review. I will be doing a comparison of these two versus last year's versions soon. That's probably going to be sometime next week. I plan on doing the Remus video for Friday. And then we get to some raffles. This first raffle was a liquor store that I don't really shop at. They've had terrible pricing for a long time. New owners, they kind of want to bring the prices back down to earth. The prices still aren't the best, but better than they were. So there's that, I guess. They had 60 allocated bottles. The first 60 people showed up, you'd get a raffle ticket. It would just be random how you would get selected to choose. So it didn't matter how early you got there, but I went there right after work. I worked the night before, so I got off at 6, got there like at 6:30ish, 6, 7, I think. I slept at home, I think. They're start handing out the tickets at 9, and they're going to draw the numbers at 10. For like 2 hours, we were hanging out, smoking cigars, drinking, just hanging out in the line. That's what we do. And it was a good time. And then they called the numbers. I got picked pretty low or high, I guess. I got picked pretty far after. And my buddy did get a Pappy 12, so that's cool, the lot B. The big bottle there was the George T. Stagg. They had 2 Jack Daniel's 14s, so they had a couple of the Heaven Hill 22s. They had about 5 bottles I was excited about. But again, I got out there. By the time I got up there, it was basically I was choosing between Weller 107 and a Weller Full Proof. So I picked the 107, and that was $70. Now there wasn't 60 people there, so at the end, he was like, if you guys want to get another bottle that's up here like left over, you can. So I picked up this Fortaleza Blanco, and that one was $65. And then I picked up a Star Hill Farm for $100, and I just sold that to my friend for that price because I already had one and I don't need 2. Because I know you guys don't, for some reason Connecticut got a decent amount. Now they quickly moved off the shelves, but I did see them around, which, if it's super allocated, I don't even see them. But this store had a good amount of them. No one was really getting them during the raffle, but he had a bunch at the end, so everyone kind of grabbed one then. He also had a ton of King of Kentucky, the 12-year-old, the 1, 2, 3 batches, and no one picked that one at all. Now he had a price for $350. Again, the pricing wasn't the best. We told him, because he said at the end, like, oh, no one wanted the King of Kentucky, and we're like, well, it's $300, and no one wants to buy it $300. No one's gonna buy it $350. And so he's like, well, I'll sell it to you for $300. So then he lowered the price at $300, and a couple people bought them, but they still had a bunch left over. All right, then I went to a different raffle this past weekend, and this one was more of like a loyalty type situation where the top 50 customers went there, and it was still a raffle system. Now I'm in the top 10. all my local friends know what number I'm at, but I'm in the top 10 for sure. And they changed it this time where the top 10 got like 3 tickets, so you have a better chance of getting a higher selection. I still got picked between 15 to 20, and by then a lot of bottles I wanted were already gone. In this raffle, the big bottles were Eagle Rare 17, George T. Stagg, Heaven Hill 22, Jack Daniel's 14. You know, it was a bunch of bottles. Again, by the time I got there, I was between like 15 and 20, right in that range. I picked up this year's Jack Daniel's 12, which I already have. But by the time I got up there, there was really nothing I didn't have already. This was 115. And the reason I got this is hoping to kind of maybe trade this with something else to get a Jack Daniel's 14. That's my hope. We will see. The past couple of tries at a 14, like this was a day I can possibly got a 14. This was a day I could possibly got a 14. You'll see another kind of raffle thing that I got a 10. So I almost got a 14, and that was kind of a different type of raffle, but we'll get into that when we get to that lineup. But I'm still working on getting that Jack Daniel's 14 to do the review for all of us. Yeah, let's go to the next lineup. All right, now we got another lineup, and this is basically from my trip to Indiana for the SLB Golf Outing. I did a haul video out there as well. I'm sure most of you guys have seen it because that whole week all the videos did very well, obviously. So I stopped at Binny's on the way down there, and I picked up this Copper and Cass Binny's pick. This is a bourbon, 8-year bourbon. This was 40 bucks. I picked up this year's Bernheim A226, and I still need to compare this to my other batch. I literally just took all the plastic wrap of all these bottles off from bringing them over. So I have not had these since I've been back. Very honest here. $70 for that one. I got this Dragon's Milk Origin, the maple barrel. I bought this for my wife. She still hasn't tried it again. I just took it out of the plastic. That was $80. Funny, that was the most expensive thing. I also picked up a Starlight Scandinavian bottle for my friends. That was $70. They had like 5 different oak finishes, which I thought was a pretty cool thing. My friend's big Starlight fan, so I sent it to him, or I sent him a picture of that, and he won the Sweden one. And then at the golf outing, I was lucky, and I won these 4 bottles plus some swag plus like something else, like a blender type thing. I just picked the smallest thing because I didn't want more weight in my luggage. But I got these 2 different Barrel Kings. So this one is a bourbon, the Zeta. This is the Fantasy Collection, which I just heard more about. Stag Gave batch 124. And this is finished in ex-bourbon and wine barrels, American whiskey. Obviously, I opened all these up for the bottle show. I opened them up right at the table at the golf outing. I'm not 100% sure if we were supposed to do that, but I did anyways. I picked up this cool looking bottle. This bottle was so heavy, I didn't want to grab it just because of the weight. Again, I brought all the stuff back in a suitcase, but this thing is heavy, heavy. A Bushwood Long Ball, 7-year-old bottle and bond, single barrel. You know, I had all the correct word. I have no idea how much this is actually worth in real world. It is a cool looking bottle. You know, I'm not the world's biggest golfer or anything like that. How can you go wrong with this bottle, right? And then I picked up this Old Bourbon County Kentucky Straight Bourbon, Hartfield and Company, 110 proof. It was just a bottle that I've never seen before that I remember anyways. So of course I was gonna pick that one up. Always pick up bottles that I've never seen before. I did that video with Kent where we try to figure out the best rye ever. I think we figured it out. And even though this bottle was not in the lineup, if you guys remember, he gave me a bottle that I didn't have because I got the bourbon as a Patreon of SLB. And so he gave me the rye as a gift. And so I appreciate that. I got that as a gift from Kent. And then on the way out, I stopped at B's Liquors, which is also in the video. You guys saw me talking about the Circle City. This is the cigar one, which I think the Robusto blend. That was $110. And then the lady at the register is like, oh, Harry's not here, but you can buy this E.H. Taylor single barrel if you want. I'm like, okay. Who's gonna say no to that? I don't know. Not me, not this guy. And that was $100. So that was basically my trip out to Indiana, Chicago area. Let's get into the next lineup. All right, now we get into the next lineup. This is actually, all of this is from one day. So we'll just talk about these two over here real quick. One of my local liquor stores, they brought back up their basically allocation drop, and they kind of do it where you can go to the store, you get a free ticket, and if you buy like a store pick or certain bottles off the barrels, you get an extra raffle ticket. So you get up to 2 raffle tickets. They have like 3 to 4 bottles that they raffle off every week. And so the first week, that's where there was the 10, 12, and 14 of the Jack Daniel's age stated stuff. I won the 10. Now I won the right to buy the 10, and it was $100. While I was there, I bought this Hazelbaker Reserve Rye for $30. So another opportunity to get the 14, and I did not. And it's funny because the first time I ever won a raffle from him, I think a year or 2 ago, was also a Jack Daniel's 10. And I just won, I think, a Stag Junior regular batch on a store pick version like a week ago, but I haven't gone and picked it up yet. I'm not even entering this week's because it's all the King of Kentucky's. This was when I came back from my trips. And I wasn't at the liquor store for a week and a half, I think. And there was a bunch of bottles there. I got the Star Hill Farm, which you guys seen a review already. That was $100. There's Larceny Private Labels, $80. This is where I got the first place I got my Jack Daniel's 12 and 10, and the 12 was $115. The 10 was $100. Just like the other store. We have this Remus Experimental number 2, and that was $65. And you'll see a video with that and this one Friday. That's the plan anyways. I haven't recorded it. We have apparently Connecticut's first 10-year-old Sagamore pick. Pretty sure that's what they were advertising, but 10-year-old store pick. We'll see how that one is. And that was $75. My third bottle of this, I already killed one, so I'm right on to my second one. This is my third one. These are pretty good with cigar, we'll say that. This is a barrel cigar blend for $85. A Stag pick, and this one is $80. And then we have the other bottle for Friday. This is the Remus Lou Gehrig, and this was $130. So not cheap, but I feel like that's still cheaper than the Babe Ruths in the past. I felt like they were higher than that, but I'll talk more about that. I'll get the actual prices for Friday's video when I compare the Lou Gehrig versus the 2 Babe Ruths and the Experimental Series 2 and 1 all together. All right, let's get into the next lineup. All right, we're on the last lineup. I know. So these are a couple gifts. So my buddy Gabe went up to New Hampshire, Maine. I think New Hampshire. He sent me pictures of like the liquor store, and while I was there, and I was like, I don't really want anything. But I did mention how I don't have this bottle. So he came back and gave me this bottle. So thank you, Gabe. And I've been talking about trying to get a bunch of the Silver Springs and kept doing a big blind. I still have some coming in the mail. But one of you lovely people, Mike C, sent this to me. He refused any money for it, so I appreciate it. And this one is this label, if he wants to. Why does it want to? There you go. Maybe, possibly. Hopefully you guys can see that. Didn't look very good on my phone right there. But I have collected a couple, and I'm just waiting on a couple more that are in the mail. And I'll plan on doing a big old Silver Springs blind to see if they're all good or if it's very batch by batch variant. Okay, then my buddy JC, we met up at the golf outing, but he traveled up there. He stopped at RD1. He picked this up for me for $35, and this is the Cedar Experimental Series number 2, finished in eucalyptus wood, which you don't see that often. And he also brought his own concoctions. He made a couple different things. Cathedral Rye, Private Blend number 2. Oh, it doesn't tell me the blend on it. I do know what they were. He did tell me, but he made these different things. The Sazerac Rye, Straight Rye Whiskey, French Oak Aged Cask. So basically he just took different whiskey, blended it, put them in different oak finishes, Private Amber. But he brought these all out to the bottle shares and everything. They're all pretty decent. All together, I sent him $140 for all of these concoctions, basically, all together with the RD1. I appreciate you, JD, for sending those out to me. The reason why this month was so expensive this day, so because this was $6,000 receipt here, and it's like, that's not $6,000 worth of whiskey in front of you. I know. Okay, so I picked up another Larceny Private Barrel pick, which I already showed you before for $80. I just didn't have room, and I already showed it to you. And I also didn't realize I already had one, so now I have 2 of them, which is fine. It's fine. Picked up, this is the Elijah Craig 15-year 150. This is actually the one I pretty much got for my buddy, but I just sent him the other one. Either way, it's all the same to me. We have this Knob Creek. This is a store pick one, and this is a charity one, so this is $75. So obviously they're cheaper than that, but it's a charity one, so the price was a little higher. We have this Elijah Craig small batch PGA, which my buddy did say this is really good. This was supposed to be in my Whiskey Cigar Club, didn't get opened, obviously, just like this one, the Old Granddad 114 that everyone's going crazy about, the single barrel black label. I had a couple of these at the bottle share. I had a couple recently while we're waiting for one of the raffles. They are very good, and by now I thought I'd really been into this bottle. I have not, but that's 50 bucks. And then I bought my copper and cast barrel, which is why this was a very expensive month. And that was well over $5,000 for the whole barrel. So fun times. Fortunately, that all sold out within a few days. So I appreciate you guys all buying it. While we're talking about it, since by now pretty much everyone's gotten it, I think maybe onesie twosies by the time you get to see this video, I'm sure everyone's gotten it. I will say, after doing more research with the bottle, because I have one that's basically empty, and I compared the empty one versus this one. This is why this is a fresh crack one. With air, it gets darker, more of a burnt brown sugar. When you fresh crack it, it's more vibrant red fruit. That's what kind of more the feedback has been as well. Just letting you know, it does change with some air. It's still good, it's just different. So we'll see how people react to that as more people get the bottles and drink it. But I did notice that it is different with air. It loses some of that vibrant red fruit, but gets more of a darker, richer note. I don't know, it's like best of two worlds, I guess. So I can't complain too much. Also, pretty decent over ice. I tested that little experiment the other day, but I still say it's not the best with a cigar. I've tried it with more cigars and still not the best pairing for me anyways. So that was the month of May. Very, very expensive month, but you know, the barrel kind of paid for itself, kind of. Not really. I gave some bottles away for free. So if you saw anything that you want reviewed out of all these bottles today that I haven't reviewed already, please leave it in the comments. Tell me what you got in May. Tell me what you're looking for in June. You know, I'm still looking for that JD14, the Heaven Hill 22. You know, I keep seeing them in lotteries and raffles and getting not those bottles. So we'll see. I'm still out there trying to hunt for different bottles and see what they are. You know, all these distilleries keep putting out new stuff. You know, there's a lot of, I was about to point to this for the 250 stuff. There's a lot of 250 bottles coming out. I don't think I have any of them yet, but I believe I should be getting a couple soon. You know, am I gonna collect them all? Doubtful. There seems to be a bunch of them coming out. Just let me know in the comments. Don't look stupid. And if you do, don't get caught. Bye.